Oh, because he's on. Okay. Okay, welcome to the March 8th regular council meeting.
Tim Baker
is now joining.
Oh, okay. We'll get to you shortly, Tim.
Okay, thanks.
Happy International Women's Day. So I hope all the ladies are celebrating. Over the last week, we've lost a former counselor, Counselor Michelle Kaminsky. And out of respect, could we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Michelle was in the early state in the 90s as a counselor, and that was in the early days of recycling, and there was a lot of issues at that time. So she did preliminary work on that. So that's what I remember about her. And also, I'm wearing a Walter Gretzky tie when he was here in, according to Deputy Mayor Lachlan, 2010. So, and it's very clearly written, Walter Gretzky. So I'll take 1,000 for it if you guys want it. And the land we acknowledge the land at which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. Any questions? Seeing none, all motion approved. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, that of the regular Council meeting of February 22nd. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Since, we don't need this one since everybody's here. Or maybe, no, it's in, under the, yeah. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved, the Council now adjourns to hear the public hearings as scheduled. The first one, borrowing bylaw 02-2021. Council will now commence to hear representation from the City of Dauphin and any other persons who wished representation for the scheduled public hearing of bylaw 02-2020, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant. Would the city manager like to speak in favor of bylaw 02-2021?
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So think it's almost the, it would have been the end of 2019, early 2020, when the municipal water, or sorry, when the Manitoba Water Services Board contacted us and said that they have some funding for us for our UV disinfection upgrade at the water treatment plant. And over the course of the last year or so, it was costed, at that time, it was costed to be about $1 million project. That was perhaps an old costing. Over the course of the last year, it was narrowed down a little bit better, and it's coming in closer to 2 million. So the city of Dauphin does have to provide 50% funding, and it was decided that we would borrow our share of the funding. So that is what this bylaw is for. If approved, then the bylaw would go to the province for approval, and then that's how the borrowing would be approved. There are some details in the bylaw regarding the amount. So again, it's $1 million. The term would be 20 years. We are one of the things that we do have to do is put an estimated interest rate. We know that interest rates are relatively low right now, but we do have to put something more modest, and we have chosen 5% per year. If it comes in less, which we're anticipating it to be, then that's fine. If it does come in more, then we have to open up the borrowing bylaw again and have another public hearing. So we've estimated at 5%, and it would be paid for by 2041. The yearly payments would be, and of course I haven't highlighted that. You see that, Al? It was on a different sheet. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the annual payments would be $80,242.59, and it would be paid for through existing water rates.
And also, the city is very low on loans or borrowing by. The general fund is just about nil, and the utility is only obligation is the $859,152, and that's basically the water treatment plant, and I think we borrow money for the hydrants, etc. So we are in good shape, and most of the utility borrowing is paid by the users. Any other person present in support of bylaw 02/2021 who wishes to speak? Councillors? Anybody against the bylaw? Council have any questions for clarification? Nobody here to make a representation. The representation for public hearing for city bylaw 2021 being a bylaw of the city of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the city of at the water treatment plant and are completing. And this is replacing the ozone system currently at the water treatment plant. This is oh yeah. We'll now commence the second hearing to hear representation from the applicants and other people who wish to make presentation for the scheduled public hearing under the Planning Act. As I read out the names of my list registered participants, please indicate if you are present. And it's, is Tim Baker? Are you on the line?
Present.
Okay,
Yeah, present.
we'll ask you to speak very shortly. Is there anybody else that's not registered? Seeing or hearing none? We'll now proceed with a public hearing for conditional use application 120206737300 / CU dash 210101 for owner applicant TNC Roofing and Exteriors, care of Tim Baker at for lot 3, block 26, plan 243, DLTO, that's 314 Main Street South, to allow the construction of an 1,140 square foot building to be used for the construction contracts, interior storage, and shop use, and to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application?
No, I think I'm good. So
Anything to,
there?
anything to add on to it, Tim?
No, everything's good the way it is.
Does council have any questions of the applicant for clarification purposes only? Any councilors? Anybody else? I see none. Any person to speak in objection? I see none. Anybody else want to make a presentation? The representation for this public hearing are now completed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next one, another public hearing, we proceed.
Tim Baker.
Is now exiting.
We'll now proceed with the public hearing for variance application 1207-328750/VO 2101/01 for owner applicant Glenn Lundstedt for Lot A, Plan 2107 DLTO, that's 3374 Triangle Road, to allow for the renovation of an existing 24 by 40 foot building currently used as recreation building to be converted into a residential single-family dwelling, similar to a modular home and a residential mobile home RMH zone, to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application? Len?
Hi. I don't know, it's all kind of in the letter. We'd just like to convert this building to a one family dwelling, and it'll be a building that's owned by the trailer park. It will never be sold. That's all.
Okay. Does council have any questions of the applicant for clarification purposes? Seeing none. Anybody else to speak for or against this application? The representation for this public hearing are now completed.
Yep.
Is there a decision going to be made? Yeah. Thank you for those who joined us for the public hearing. And council's decision of this application will be final and not subject to appeal. Thank you, applicants. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting.
Oh, Len Lundstedt.
Is now exiting.
Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that the public hearing for the City of Dauphin Bylaw 02-2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant be now concluded. Any questions? Seeing none, motion approved. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that the public hearing for conditional use 1202067300/CU 2101/01 for owner and applicant TNC Roofing and Exteriors, care of Tim Baker, for Lot 3, Block 26, Plan 243, DLTO 314, Main Street South, to allow the construction of an 1,140 square foot building to be used for construction contractors' interior storage and the shop use area, and to comply with the City of Dauphin bylaw be now concluded. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that the public hearing for variance application 1207 328750/VO 21-01/01 for owner applicant Lynn Lundstedt for Plan A, Plan 2107 DLTO 3374 Triangle Road, to allow for the renovation of an existing 24 by 40 foot building currently used as a recreational building to be converted into a residential single-family dwelling unit, similar to a modular home in a residential mobile home zone, to comply with the City of zoning bylaw be now concluded. Will, pardon? Yeah. We're getting to you, Saster. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas due notice was given with respect to conditional use application 1202-06-7300/CU -21-01/01, and whereas no objections were received to the application, be it resolved that conditional use application 1202-06-7300/CU -21-01/01 for owner applicant TNC Roofing and Exteriors, care of Tim Baker, for Lot 3, Plan 26, Block 26, Plan 243 DLTO 314 Main Street South, to allow the construction of a 1,140 square foot building to be used for construction contracts, interior storage, and shop use area, to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be approved with the following. The applicant will require a major variance for a reduced rear yard to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Where due notice was given with respect to variance application 1208-374300/VO -20-01/07, and whereas no objections were received to the application, Be it resolved that variance application 1207328750/VO-21-01/01 for owner applicant Len Lunston for Lot A, Plan 2107 DLTO 3374 Triangle Road to allow the renovation of an existing 24 by 40 building used as a recreational building to be converted into a residential single-family dwelling similar to a modular home in a residential mobile home zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be approved with the following condition. The owner applicant must obtain and submit all required permits and documents required by the City of Dauphin for the proposed renovations, and all construction shall conform to the Manitoba Building Code. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, second by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the presentation by Staff Sergeant Raymond Campbell of the Dauphin RCMP. Go ahead, Staff Sergeant.
Thank you, Worship and councillors and staff. I'm here today. Usually I do a quarterly report, but our quarterly report doesn't end till the end of March. So I have January and February in front of me here. If you want me to go right into the report, I certainly will. Okay, so for the month of January, our call volume was down about 25% what it was over 2020, the same time that year. Our drug files are up somewhat, not an overly higher increase, but they are considerable over the same time of the previous year. Our mental health calls, though, are up 30% compared to the same time of last year. So that is a concern within our community. But I'm pleased to say that our assaults are about 32% down and our thefts were about 45% down for that same month. So, but our rural calls were up about 30%. So one balances out the other. You might have less in town, but you have more in the rural. And for as much as that was for the month of January. For the month of February, our call volume was about 28% down compared to February of 2020. Our mental health calls were up 15% that month compared to the same month. Our assaults were down about 64% and our mischief calls were down about 33%. Our rural calls remained about the same compared to the same time of last year. That for policing report is my statistics. Our budgeting for the fiscal year ends March 31st, where yours probably isn't the same. I'm going to have probably about a 19% over budget, that looking at the way I'm running things, but that is not including anything to do with employee salaries. So that should balance itself out to the lesser good on the city side. As far as anything else going on right now, we are working with the Northwest Métis Council, Housing First. They're looking at getting a Family Violence Initiative Fund grant, and in part we will help them. They want to go out to the Northgate Trails and do a walk or a hike of some sort, and we'll get involved with that and have an information booth of some sort to assist them within our community. We have a constable within our organization that is good at and learning and becoming progressively better at interviewing children that are abused or anything to do with child files in youth. Right now we have what they call the Snowflake Center, which is in a city where we have to take the kids there to get interviewed, and that it's just the center is more focused on, you know, an environment inclusive to them and making them. She's trying to find something that's up in our area here, so it's not such to pull them out of their communities, to drive them all the way down there and that, and it'll certainly help if it does get up and going in this area. It won't be of the same as the one down there, of course, but anything is better than if we can take them out as far as their community, and it helps within our interior, you know, somebody from Swan has to drive that much farther. So in that aspect, we're looking at that. As far as employees and staffing levels right now, we're probably about 25% down, which is seems like a lot, but compared to other communities within the province, we're pretty good. Depot in Regina right now is putting through new cadets and recruits, but that it's so minimal because of our times with COVID and such. So we're not seeing the cadets come to the province like we normally are, which fills up the nutrition rate. So it's work with less, and we're adapting to that. I can't say that it's going to get better because it won't anytime soon. We're on the train tracks for the long haul, and it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, I believe. With you have people with sicknesses, holidays. Hopefully, once the province opens up a little bit more, people will start to travel because they've been cooped up for some time. So, and medical conditions and as such, and maternity leaves that will cause some issues within our office, but nothing that we're at cost of doing business, and it's operation of excellence. So we do the best we can with what we have. I'm open up to any questions you have. I know I spoke a little fast, but.
So, Councillor
Elmer?
Elmer, go ahead, and then Councillor Riel.
Okay, thank you. Well, you had mentioned that you have some mental health calls that have been coming in. Now, I understand that part of the service that you offer might be a transportation to the hospital if you felt that was the appropriate response to the situation that you're dealing with. What are some of the other ways that RCMP might be called upon to respond to mental health calls?
Well, we get called regardless whether we transport them or not. We're in the business of, call. And unfortunately, the RCMP is the end all be all when it comes to call. You want a service, you want somebody that needs help, somebody that's in distress, and they call the RCMP. It's not necessarily that we would take them to the hospital. We'll try sometimes it's voluntary, sometimes it's involuntary. If it's involuntary, then we have to take them to the hospital. We have to get them assessed. We're in the times where people are cooped up, and that's the sad part. And the reaching out or the touching base or seeing people face to face is somewhat non-existent. So you can understand that times are a little bit tougher for people that are more of a shut-in or don't have a socialized environment. So we do what we can, and some aspects of that is sometimes it's transporting. We take them to the hospital, they'll get assessed, and then unfortunately, depending on where the available bed is, then we'll have to transfer them to another facility. We're actually in the very stages of a new proposal and project that's coming within the province called Health IM. We're at the start of the stages of the learning stage where it will be coming into effect within our community. It's in other communities within the province. What that is, that we have an app on our phones, and when we get to call, we type in the information of the person we have. They might be new to the system or not. If they're in our system, they'll pre-populate into the program. Then we have some check boxes to fill in, depending on, what progression they are, what their state of mind is, et cetera, that will get put into our not a tablet per se, our phones, and we can upload that right to the hospital. So prior to us getting to the hospital, they'll know what we're dealing with, which will help them, and it'll show past history. If the person's been in the system before, it'll give us a track record of what we can expect when we get to that call and what the hospital is going to expect when we arrive. So it's something new. It's going to be a very big learning curve for all of us, but I think it'll help out in the long run.
Is that a provincial app or is that a RCMP app or?
No, it's a company, and I believe based out of Ontario, and they brought it into the province. And there's other police forces in the States that are using it, and I think in a few in the other province, but the province of Manitoba has bought into the program, and I see the success rates, and the longer it gets used, the better the program will be. So, you're welcome.
I just have two questions. So you said that assaults were down, but have you seen an increase in family violence calls or no?
In family violence calls, no. That is part and parcel within it. Family violence is a part of that assault system, but I haven't seen an increase. In the past I have, but I believe it's starting to, as we come out of this pandemic of some sort where people are being able to leave their homes somewhat, I think it is. When we were right down into the red zone, there was an increase. Definitely, you could see it because people aren't. You live under the same roof and the only person you can speak to is the other person across the table from you. It does pose its challenges, and to some people, it's unfortunate that it takes a toll. But I haven't seen the increase within family violence within the last few months compared to, in the fall when we were right in the red zone when it was at our worst.
Okay, thanks. And the other question I had, so are you saying then if there's a child abuse or child sexual assault case, that child goes to the center in Winnipeg to be interviewed? They don't do any interviewing here?
Yeah, we'll still do interviews
Oh, okay.
here. It's just depending on the circumstances at the time and the case itself, whether they'll go to that center.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Eilers.
You said that crime had increased in the rural versus the city. In what respect?
Just in call volumes itself, that was just for the month of January. I can't give you specifics. I just pulled out the final numbers for the month compared to the previous months. But I don't have specifics. I'd have to get you that.
Just wondering what type of.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I just ran the bottom line numbers for the rural, the amount of calls volume compared to the amount of call volumes for the previous months.
Any other questions? I'll, Staff Sergeant, I don't know you received this letter yet. I wrote a letter to the Minister of Justice.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Worship, I did receive the letter.
Yeah. I'll just read it out for the people. It's part of your package, but Mayor, Council, and the citizens of Dauphin are concerned about public safety in our community. In 2020, the city paid more than $50,000 in RCMP overtime costs to cover the time-consuming transport of prisoners to Brandon or Winnipeg, necessitated by the lack of holding facilities in Dauphin. In addition, the RCMP have 3 vacancies at the Dauphin attachment, leaving our citizens vulnerable to the lack of policing resources utilized elsewhere. The city requests the province establish a permanent holding facility in Dauphin to make more efficient use of RCMP time and to allow our local members to concentrate on their commitment to public safety in Dauphin. And it's just a concern that we have.
No, and certainly, Your Worship, you have that right. This is our community, and we want to have safe homes, safe communities, and keep it as best as you can. I can't answer for the monetary part of it, but for the 3 vacancies, I certainly can.
Our Director of Finance gets all the fine details on it. That's where we've been advised by him that, and the lot of that cost is incurred by transportation of prisoners to other facilities.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I can't speak to the monetary part of it, but it does. Certainly, it takes a member out of our community every time we have to transport.
And then we don't have, there's one, and with the three staff that are not, we're supposed to have, it leaves our community a little vulnerable to safety issues.
Yes.
Yep. So any other questions of anybody? Okay, good. Thank you, Staff Sergeant, for your
It was
report.
my pleasure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that all items listed on item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. There was no action items. The filing items from the AMM, the 2021 Spring Convention, AMM Parkland Directors Report of February 2021, News Bulletin of March 5th, 2021, Member Advisory, MPI reimbursement for firefighting costs, additional links for COVID-19, the FCM Connect of February 23rd and March 2nd, 2021. The media releases, Manitoba Economic Development and Training, the approval of the Dauphin Best Western Plus. Hotel receives Manitoba Works Capital Incentive rebate up to 4.1 million. That was good news. The Justice and Central Services tender awarded for renovation and expansion of Dauphin Courthouse, and that's the contract's been awarded to Box Steel. Premier Made in Canada COVID-19 vaccine and COVID-19 bulletins, Municipal Relations 2021 assessment levy, Mountain View School Division News Digest of February 22nd, Community Futures Parkland newsletter of February 21st, Manitoba Association of Senior Center, Age-Friendly Resource Team, and Canadian Heritage Celebrate Canada Grant. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Go ahead.
Okay, it goes back to member advisory by AMM, and it has there about the costs of the firefighters, and it says the rates for 2021 and attached letter. There's no attached letter to that, and I'm wondering if we're recovering the costs, if there's been talk with the fire chief that the costs are covering their costs.
We'll have to send a query to the fire chief.
I can speak to that. Actually.
Okay.
Thanks, Councillor Eilers. So every year when that rate changes and the email comes out, I do send it over to the fire chief and to make sure that we have adjusted our rates accordingly. It's unfortunate that it comes out in March because we don't adjust our rates to the following calendar year, but we try to do our best to recover everything that we can.
Because it doesn't say, it says it's got there and let's see the outline for rates attached letter, and we don't have that attached letter.
I can get that letter to you if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it's been a couple weeks since our last meeting, and as usual, we've had some COVID-19 updates or changes to our province. And March 5th, there was a new set of public health orders that started. We have reviewed what it means for City of Dauphin facilities, and they will all operate a status quo. Probably the biggest thing that you'll see is some differences in the rec facilities. We've got a few openings now, and that's great to see. And there's also some more higher percentages of people who can go into some stores and into some restaurants. One of the things that we did finish up in the last couple of weeks was the Dutch elm disease tree removal program for the 2020 and 21 season. So the province does continue to offer guidance and some financial assistance with two participating municipalities with respect to Dutch elm diseased elm tree removal. For the 2020 and 2021 year, the province provided a list of 210 diseased elms for the city to remove and provided $63,840 to do so. And that's to put toward the removals. And that is based on a specific price per tree based on the size of the tree. Through a competitive bid process in the fall of 2020, the tree removal contract was awarded to Merv Morton, and that bid was at $83,790. Mr. Morton successfully removed the 210 trees on the list, and administration has prepared the final report for the province and submitted it the week of March 1st. As mentioned, at the end of 2020, we'll be trying to work with the province to facilitate some rapid removals of super spreaders of elms in late July. And that would be elms that are infected with beetles, and the beetles spread the elm disease. So we want to remove them as early as possible. And it's a one tool in our toolbox to help be more aggressive in our efforts to curb Dutch elm disease. In terms of Dauphin Rec services, over the last few weeks, I have frequently consulted with the general manager regarding several matters such as recycling in parks, washroom facilities, Meadowlark Park recreation opportunities, the 2020 budget, the 2021 budget, and rec offerings that are allowed through the new public health order starting March 5th. At this time, we're doing a lot of preliminary planning to be able to present the year's budget with accurate information and cost estimates. So that's we do work closely with Dauphin Rec Services, so we need to get some information from them. And I do appreciate DRS's cooperation with my many assorted questions. The next item is, I guess, I don't know if it's a formal announcement because I don't know that I'm the one to formally announce it, but we have been made aware that the 2021 electric vehicle or EV rally has been postponed to 2022. So the City of Dauphin has been participating in the planning process for a Palms to Polar Bears electric vehicle rally hosted by Thompson Chamber of Commerce. They've been working to put together a route that would support electric vehicle travel between Galveston, Texas and Thompson, Manitoba, with the option to visit Churchill to take in the polar bears. So that's the palm trees to polar bears, so palms to polar. Originally, the rally was scheduled for 2021. However, due to travel restrictions currently in place due to COVID-19, which are foreseen to carry into the coming months, the rally is postponed to 2022. Dauphin has presented to be a very important link in the rally as it is the only rapid charger location in Manitoba north of Highway 1. The organizers are looking to Dauphin as an example of how to work with the federal government and provincial governments to secure funding for charger in other communities north of the Trans-Canada Highway. And they're looking to get more chargers installed between Thompson and Winnipeg by next summer, 2022, so that the rally can take place. So we're looking forward to that rally, and we welcome tourists from all over the country, hopefully, to visit Dauphin and the parkland on their way through. In terms of human resources in the last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with several staff members at varying levels of involvement regarding a leave of absence, performance appraisals, work accommodation, retirement, so a knowledge transfer there, and recruiting. And finally, I'm pleased to announce, speaking of recruiting, that our new Director of Public Works and Operations will be Mike Van Alstyne. Mike is currently a Senior Project Engineer with Manitoba Infrastructure in Dauphin and has been working with the provincial government for about 8 years. Mike has achieved a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Manitoba and has his professional engineer status. Mike is originally from Winnipeg. He moved to Dauphin for work several years ago and is happy to make Dauphin his home with his wife, Courtney. And Mike will start with us on April 12th. And that concludes my report.
Any questions of the city manager?
Yes, with regard to a couple of the meetings that you had been taking part in, you had one meeting with the DART group, and it says programming. So what age levels is DART now programming for?
It's a good question. So I believe it was more so youth, and then they opened it up to the age of 29. And through a conversation that I had on February 23rd, I understand it is open to all ages. So I think that might be something new for the coming year.
Okay, yeah, because even going up to age 29 was new. So
Correct.
then there.
Yeah, and that was new just maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or so. And through the conversation with the director, she said that it was open to all ages now. Not a lot of uptake from the older group. However, it is available.
Okay, thank you. And with regard to the bike lane, I see you had a meeting there, so everything is all set for the route there, the next stage of the bike route?
Yes. So we are just waiting for the weather to cooperate with us so that we can, which I think over the last couple of days, it's getting a little closer to it, so that we can work with a business across the street so that we can get onto their property, as well as make more headway on the more easterly part of the road. Yes.
I just want to make a comment and commend Mr. Morton and his team for the very professional and safe removal of trees. They did an excellent job. Every time I went by, they had the road blocked off. They had their proper safety gear, and that's something I hadn't seen in the past. So I just want to commend them for a very well job done. A job done well.
I second what Councillor Real has said too. I wasn't home. I did have somebody looking after my home, and they came and actually told what they were going to do and whatever, which was nice. They did the PR work, and they did block off the routes very good. There were some people trying to buy the wood that we had, so I'm sure he was challenged in other ways as well. So all the kudos to his crew and Murph for doing that job. I have fortunately lost a tree in my yard. I've got pictures of it, and they did a good job. The other thing that I had to make a comment with is, I guess it says here Dauphin at-risk teens. And I really have a problem with that verbiage there, because first of all, they increased it to 29. Now they're saying that. Is there any chance of them changing that to maybe individuals at risk?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. I think that's something that we can put to their group to see if there's plans for the future, or if anybody knows. As a couple councillors have been on their group before, was there ever talk of changing their name based on them opening up some of their ages? No?
I left just as it
Okay. Okay. So I can make note of that and see what their intent is for the future name of it.
Because anybody looking at this will assume that it's a different, like a till 19. That would be my assumption.
The following corporate report for March 8th, the ICT manager. And I think the only thing in there was that the RFP has gone out for the council chambers communication system. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, second by Councillor Stakilo. Check be it resolved that finance accounts have been examined by the council and be authorized and approved as follows. Checks 2776 to 27832, 57 checks for $220,842.36. Some of the big ones in there, and as we mentioned here, we've paid MERV already for $83,790 as per the contract. The OSS January recycling, $19,123.73. The receiver general deductions of $38,070.81, and Manitoba Hydro $18,884.94, and that's for all the utilities, water treatment plant, but does not include the city lighting, which is on another bill and we paid later, but it's around 15,000. So we support Manitoba Hydro very well. There is no voided checks in current or past ranges. Electronic payments of 5 for mainly payroll for $153,432.08. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councilor Riel, seconded by Councilor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before FASB adjustments for the period ending December 31st, 2020, including general fund highlights of variances, general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, utility fund highlights and variances, and utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councilor Stakilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the reserve report for the period ending December 31st, 2020. That, any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. The next one, moved by Councilor Bellemare, seconded by Councilor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the analysis of the 2020 reserve balance, and in the end, all the analysis are closing balance for 2020 is $11,387,109.11. And we'll have more to speak on that towards in the next bylaw or next resolution. Any questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councilor Riel, seconded by Councilor Stakilo. Be it resolved, the council accepts as information the memorandum from the Director of Finance dated March 1st, 2021 regarding the City of Dawfin's 2020 financial analysis unaudited before FASB for the period ending December 31st, 2020. There's a report that did a detailed analysis of all the variances, both in the general fund and utility, done by a Director of Finance, and he's done a very comprehensive and excellent work on it, and I thank the Director of Finance for all his work in it. But today I'd like to announce at the City of Dawfin's 2020 surplus is going to the ratepayers' pockets. City of Dauphin has completed a 2020 year-end financial reconciliation and reports a surplus of $936,873. Most of the surplus was due to COVID-19 pandemic-related federal restart grant money. It is the direction of City Council that this grant be passed on to the taxpayers of Dauphin. Therefore, the City Council will be using these funds to reduce taxes in 2021 and 2022 while maintaining the same level of service. It is the desire of council to put the federal restart grant money totaling $501,000 into the pockets of all City of Dauphin ratepayers and reducing the municipal portion of property taxes this year and next in a reasonable and equitable way to do that while still upholding the services of the community. Details of the tax reduction have not been set, and we're still in the budgeting process and will be determined during the 2021 budget deliberations, which are ongoing. So can't give much details on the reduction, but it'll be less than last year and it'll be less next year too. So we've had a very good year, and we hope we're returning some of the surplus to the taxpayers of Dauphin. It's very exciting news, and thank you for the residents for being so patient with us and compliant with us in COVID-19, and you'll notice a difference on your taxes in due course. Any questions of the financial statements and the surplus? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the 2020 Councillor Compensation Report as required by the Public Sector Compensation Disclosure Act, and it'll be posted on our bulletin board, and the amounts of the hardworking councillors and mayor that during 2020. And I'm sure the press has it, so there'll be reports in the press shortly too. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved, the Council accepts as information the following engineering staff report for the March 8th, 2021 regular council meeting, that of the building inspector. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and reports of the following committees: District and Dauphin and District Handy Van regular board meeting of October 20th, balance sheet of the 31st of 2020, profit and loss, budget versus actual, 2020, 2021, and expenses by vendor summary 2020. The Dauphin Regional Library Annual Report 2020, Dauphin Public Library Annual Report 2020, Intermountain Watershed District Conservation Standing Committee meeting December 18th, 2020, and Conservation Standing Committee meeting of January 21st, 2021. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Bella. Mayor, whereas the city of Dauphin is in the process of creating a waste diversion center at the waste disposal site in an effort to divert hazardous materials from the landland to a dedicated collection site for household hazardous waste. And whereas the city applied to Product Care Manitoba for a grant to construct the waste diversion center, be it resolved that council accepts this information. Correspondence dated March 3rd, 2021 from Jason Brown, Program Manager for Product Care Recycling, advising the city's request for capital funding in the amount of $36,726 has been approved. Further, be it resolved that council accepts this information, a full service site collection agreement between the city of Dauphin and Product Care Manitoba, outlining the terms of the grant and the terms of the operation of the Waste Diversion Center, and a memorandum dated March 5th, 2021 from the city manager recommending that the agreement be approved for signing. Further, be it resolved that council agrees with the city manager's recommendations and authorizes the Manitoba Household Hazardous Waste Recycling Program full collection site agreement be signed and sealed by the city of Dauphin by the city manager. Any questions? And it's close, and it's very close to being operational. Councillor.
I was just going to ask the city manager, I know in pre-COVID we had talked about touring the site and an email had gone out who was interested, or can we do that sometime in the future?
Yeah, I can see if we can do that. One of the things we cannot do is carpool to it, and we'll have to kind of maybe take a look at what we can see and where we can drive onto it. But let me look into that.
Yeah, we're intending on having a big grand opening, and so. This is a project that's been going on for 3 years, and it's when myself and the city director of city operations toured the Brady site, and that's where the idea for the diversion center came. And it's a dream come true. Any questions? All in favor? Motion. This is the, you want me to read it first? Okay. Okay.
So the next item up is the fire protection grant. And there's two resolutions. One is for the signing of the agreement, and the other is for actually the awarding of the purchase to a local dealer. But we were I wanted to make everybody aware. It was actually earlier today that we were sorting a little bit through this grant agreement, and unfortunately the province in error put Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District as the grant recipient, where it's actually the city of Dauphin. And so the city of Dauphin, the mutual aid district, the way that the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District is set up is that it's not really in a position to own assets. So it's renting some assets. It has a few assets at the training site, but that would be, in the effect of damaged cars and whatnot. There is a house there, and but that kind of stays with the property, if you will. Whenever anybody goes to train out there, they take trucks. They bring their own trucks. They bring their own tools, their own equipment. So it doesn't own anything. It does have a bank account so that it can make money. It does get grants and can pay for things, but it can't own anything. So that's just a clarification. In the agreement, and as well in Fire Chief Abree's letter, whenever it said the mutual aid district got the grant, it's actually the city, and the resolutions are corrected to show that. Thank you.
No. Okay. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, second by Councillor Eilers. Whereas 2020, the province of Manitoba announced a one-time $5 million fire protection grant to support fire protection and emergency response across the province, which was later increased to $9.14 million due to overwhelming demand. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information, a memorandum dated March 3rd, 2021 from the Dauphin Fire Chief outlining the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District's training site need for a skid steer and the City of Dauphin's application to the Provincial Fire Protection Grant to support that need. Further be it resolved that Council accepts this information, correspondence dated from February 22nd, 2021 from the Honorable Derek Johnson, Minister of Municipal Relations, indicating that the City of Dauphin was a successful grant recipient totaling $89,000 for a skid steer on tracks for use at the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District training site. Further be it resolved, the Council accepts this information, the Fire Protection Grant Program Contribution Agreement between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin, outlining the details of the grant. Further be it resolved, the Council authorizes the Fire Protection Grant Program Contribution Agreement between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin be signed and sealed on behalf of the City of Dauphin by the Mayor and City Manager. Further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin owns the asset and will enter into an agreement with the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District, whereby the Mutual Aid District is responsible for the yearly insurance and maintenance in exchange for the use of the equipment. Any questions? Just that the grant was covered by the province 100%, and we're very fortunate to use it. And the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, second by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved, the Council accepts this information, a memorandum dated March 3rd, 2020, from the Dauphin Fire Chief outlining the award of a provincial fire protection grant to the City of Dauphin for the City Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District training site totaling $89,000 for the purchase of a track skid steer to use for training purposes. Further be it resolved, the Council accepts as information the same memorandum outlining details of the three quotes for a track skid steer and recommends the purchase of a 2018 Case TR 320 for $58,000 plus applicable taxes from Rocky Mountain Equipment in Dauphin. Further be it resolved that Council accepts as information the same memorandum and the intent of the City of Dauphin to purchase a shipping container for the secure storage for the skid steer and other equipment totaling not more than $5,000 to be part of the fire protection grant to be reimbursed by the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District. Further be it resolved that Council accepts the Fire Chief's recommendations and authorizes the City of Dauphin to purchase the above-mentioned skid steer shipping container for the use of the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District site to be funded from the transfer from the City of Dauphin operating budget to be fully reimbursed with proceeds of the fire protection grant and or the Riding Mountain Mutual District. Further be it resolved that the equipment and shipping container be placed on City of Dawson's insurance policy with the premium invoice to the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District. Councillor Bellemare.
So there's like $26,000 difference between what they were awarded and what they actually spent. Are they able to use that money, or that just is money that goes back into the pot?
So right now, it is money that will be gone back into the pot. One of the questions was once the equipment was found and what's available and what's reasonable, it was quickly determined that there should be some sort of secure storage. And so that's why the question, or the resolution does say it's paid for by the grant or by the district. If we get permission for the grant to pay it out, then we'll take it from the grant. So it's an extra $5,000 from that grant. But no, we cannot continue to build onto it, unfortunately.
Other questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Staccato, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information. Correspondence dated February 23rd, 2021 from Allison Moss, Director of the Dauphin Public Library, outlining the library's 2021 budget estimates as approved by the Library Board of Trustees. Further be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated February 23rd from Ms. Moss, requesting a 2021 appropriation of $18,309.07 quarterly. Further be it resolved that Council forwards this financial request to the 2021 budget deliberations, and that grant, the amount went up by 5 cents per capita, and it's about $800 for the City of Dauphin. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Staccato. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information. Correspondence dated February 23rd from Allison Moss, Director of Dauphin Public Library, outlining the library 2021 budget estimates as approved by the Library Board of Trustees. Further be it resolved that Council accepts this information. Correspondence dated February 22nd from Ms. Moss, requesting a 2020 appropriation of $16,366.25 quarterly. Further be it resolved that Council forwards this financial request to the 2021 budget deliberations. And that's no increase from last year. So, any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas for the last several months, the City of Dauphin has been working with consulting firm Urban System on an active transportation plan for our community. And whereas in 2020, the City of Dauphin and Urban Systems applied for an FCM General Municipal Fund grant to assist with the cost of developing an active transportation plan. Be it resolved, the Council accepts this information dated November 4th, 2020 from Ben Henderson, Chair of the FCM Green Fund Council, advising that the City of Dauphin was approved for a city municipal grant, 50% of eligible costs in the amount of $27,900 to support an active transportation plan. Further be it resolved that Council accepts this information from the Green Fund agreement between the FCM and the City of Dauphin, outlining the terms of the grant. Further be it resolved, the council accepts this information memorandum dated March 5th, 2021 from the city manager noting a total cost of approximately $65,500 for both the active transportation plan and a detailed design of one section of the active transportation network and recommended approval of the GMF grant. Further be it resolved, the council agrees with the city manager's recommendation and authorizes the Green Fund municipal grant between the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and the City of Dauphin be signed and sealed on behalf of the city manager. Any questions? And I believe the plan is in our hands.
Yes.
And we'll be discussing it sometime. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Sticalo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information of a memorandum dated March 3rd, 2021 from the fire chief indicating that on February 12th, 2021, the department, Dauphin Fire Department battled a structure on 2nd Avenue Northeast in Dauphin during a night of extreme temperatures, dropping down to 51 Celsius. Oh, with the wind chill. Okay. And that during that incident, they called the Gilbert Plains Fire Department as per provincial mutual aid agreement, and 6 members of the Gilbert Plains Fire Department arrived to provide assistance, which allowed the rotation of firefighters to the rehabilitation to warm up at the fire station and then return to the scene. Further be it resolved that the fire chief knows that this is the second time in recent years that the Gilbert Plains Fire Department has provided assistance to the Dauphin Fire Department in extreme weather conditions, and requests the council provide a letter of thanks to the municipality of Gilbert Plains in appreciation of the assistance of the members of the Gilbert Plains Fire Department at this challenging fire incident. Further be it resolved that council agrees with the fire chief's recommendation and appreciates the generous assistance of the Gilbert Plains Fire Department at a time of need when firefighters were facing the challenges of extreme weather at the fire incident on February 12, 2021. So we'll write a letter and thank you to the Gilbert Plains Fire Department for coming out. It was cold that day. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved, the council accepts as information correspondence dated February 22nd from the Dauphin Rec Services Operations Manager requesting capital funding for the purchase of a tree auger for Communities in Bloom to facilitate the planting of trees during the digging of holes for tree planting is done by hand. Further be it resolved, the council accepts as information an estimate of the tree auger provided by the DRS operations manager in the amount of $7,750 plus applicable taxes. Further be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated March 2nd, 2021 from the Director of Finance noting that this request for a tree auger was reviewed by the capital planning in December 2020 and recommending that the purchase of the auger be approved prior to finalizing the 2021 budget in order to complete the 2020-21 spring tree planting as efficiently as possible. Further, be it resolved, the council agrees with the Director of Finance recommendations and authorizes the pre-budget purchase of the tree auger for Communities in Bloom with the funds coming from the Recreation and Active Living Reserve. Any questions? Call the questions, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, second by Councillor Stakilo, whereas according to Section 187 of the Public Schools Act, municipalities are required to collect local levies for school divisions within their boundaries. Further, be it resolved that Council accepts this information correspondence dated March 4th from 2021 from Lori Siplica. It should be, well, I taught Lori. Coordinator of finance, she should have the CPA, CGA there instead. Anyway, Coordinator of Finance for Mountain View School Division, advising the city requirements to levy, collect, and remit the amount of $4,761,31 to Mountain View School Division for 2021. Further be it resolved that the correspondence be forwarded to the council's 2021 budget deliberations in the form part of the City of Dawfin's financial plan. I can't remember. Were they told to stay the same from last year? Is that right? Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, be it resolved that bylaw 01/2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to repeal bylaw 13/2012 to permit Sunday and general shopping be now read a second time. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, second by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be it resolved that bylaw 01/2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to repeal bylaw 13/2012 to permit Sunday and general shopping be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager. And I have to have is everybody in favor? Councillor Juba, unanimous. Okay, thank you, Councillor. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that bylaw 2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant be now read a first time. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. And that's what the public hearing was about this today. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Eilers, be it resolved that bylaw 03/2021 being a bylaw to amend the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015 regulating the use and development of land 104 Oak Avenue from residential family to residential multifamily be now read a first time. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts his information, the invitation below, the Manitoba Sustainable Energy Association 2021 virtual conference, March 23rd, March 30th, and March 6th. So, any questions on that? Go ahead, Councillor Bellemare.
Yes, do we have any staff that might be attending that?
Possibly. We haven't specifically designated one person as such, but it was definitely something that we get a lot of advertisements for conferences and webinars daily, frankly. This is something that I wanted to highlight to council as well as our staff.
Just because we won a sustainability award, so I know we like to move in that direction, so thank you.
Thank you. Oh, who else? Oh, Counselor. I'm sorry.
So that's open to all of the councillors to attend that? So we just have to let you know if we're interested? Okay, thank you.
I was checking my calendar and they've got April 6th and we've got a city council meeting that time. So on the 6th, it's got the 3 days. And it's, are we part of that Mansi? So is it $25? Like, so what I'm really asking, if you can attend 2 out of 3, yeah. Yes, and
Yeah.
this goes till at 7 to 8:30. We're not always finished by that. That's all I'm saying. No, not at all. I wish I did.
Counselor Juba, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I just want to check my volume, make sure it's okay. I'm getting some feedback. On my report goes back to February 8th, as I missed the last council meeting. So February 8th, I attended the regular council meeting by Microsoft Media. February 11th, I attended Protective Services Committee meeting via Microsoft Media. February 11th, also I attended my first Dauphin District Chamber of Commerce meeting via Microsoft Media as well. February the 16th, I attended the Planning and Priorities meeting at the City Hall, and on February the 18th, I attended the Dauphin Regional Airport Authority Committee, or the Airport Authority at the in the committee room, but that meeting was by Zoom as well. So a lot of Zoom meetings. On February the 9th, some community events. I attended the Parkland Toastmasters meeting via Zoom. On February the 17th, I attended a Habitat for Humanity monthly board meeting. Just a couple of congratulations. I want to offer my congratulations to Richard Snyder on his retirement from the Dauphin Fire Department. I want to thank him for his many years to the citizens and the community. Richard, all the best in your retirement. And as mentioned, I'm sure in the last report about the Dauphin Fire Department attending some nasty fires during the cold weather. Again, it's comfort to know that while we're home, warm in our home, the fire department is out protecting us in our community. And I want to thank the Métis Federation for the Louis Riel fireworks. It was a real special treat to have it done, and I was actually fortunate to watch the fireworks right from my house here, so I didn't have to go in the cold to enjoy them. February the 20th marked the coldest night of the year. Was held. It was a virtual event this year to help out local Habitat for Humanity Dauphin chapter. It was a fundraising. It was a huge fundraising effort for us. The final number are not in, as we are still collecting donations until the end of March. I want to thank Nancy Triguna for organizing this event, and we'll have an update as soon as the end of March comes. Now, I go back here. On February the 22nd, I wasn't able to attend the City Council meeting at City Hall. March the 1st, I attended the Audit Finance meeting at City Hall. Then tomorrow, the Dauphin District Chamber of Commerce are holding its annual awards event and annual general meeting It's a celebration online. Awards to be presented include Business Person of the Year, Community Appreciation Award Group, Yacht Entrepreneur of the Year, Outstanding Business, and the Legacy Award. So you can still sign up, get a hold of Stephen Chakota, and he'll sign you up, and you can zoom in on that at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And I just want to offer my personal condolences to the Kaminsky, Cognit, and Lundstedt families on the loss of Michelle Kaminsky. Michelle Kaminsky was a personal friend of both my partner Kathy and I for a number of years, and we're going to miss her. And I did have an opportunity to stop over at Martin's house and speak to him for a few minutes the other day. So, Mr. Mayor, that's my report.
Councillor Rio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On February 22nd, I attended the last council meeting here in person at City Hall. February 23rd, I met with a local citizen regarding a concern. And March 3rd, I attended the rec board meeting via Zoom, and really looking forward to some in-person meetings. I'm all Zoomed out. I too want to send my condolences to several families who have lost loved ones over the last while, especially the Kaminskys. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Councillor Bellemare.
No, go ahead. Okay. Council work attended the council meeting on February 22nd, and community events, except for shopping in town. They are mostly virtual events that I'm attending. I attended a virtual session on creating public spaces by the Community Foundation of Canada, and it's lovely to dream about future possibilities for Dauphin and then figure out what can become a reality. I attended a virtual play created by the Manitoba Theatre Centre entitled Mountaintop, which is based on the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Just before he was assassinated. There were only 2 actors in the play, so MTC was able to actually stage and record this play in Winnipeg, and I could watch it in my living room in Dauphin. And this is a reminder to support initiatives that you hold dear, to keep them in operation during the pandemic, because buying a ticket for something like this or other events really goes a long way to keeping groups in operation while this pandemic is hopefully coming to an end. I'd like to extend a big thank you to Scott Carr, our Director of Finance. In our meeting package today, Scott wrote a 9-page explanation of numerous budget lines from the 2020 budget, explaining why they were above or below the budgeted amounts. It was thorough, it was clear, and it was great information for councillors. Also, as we're getting ready to be vaccinated, I wanted to mention a website called manitobavaccine.ca. It was launched by an organization called Doctors Manitoba, which represents more than 3,000 members. It does 2 things. First, it provides many answers to frequently asked questions. Because things are changing rather quickly and our knowledge about vaccines, it's great to have a reliable site to use for up-to-date, accurate information. And secondly, the website has a tool that will contact you when you are eligible for a vaccine. You have to answer questions about your age and your job and that kind of thing. The website again is manitobavaccine.ca. I found this information in the Winnipeg Free Press, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. February 22nd, I attended City Council in person. On February 25th, we had a Dauphin Ag Society meeting, virtual. There was discussion of the fair and maybe that we would have maybe a beef show. That's under review, depending on what's happening with the pandemic. I've been working on several CIB projects. I also want to congratulate Richard Snyder on his retirement from the fire department. All the kudos to him, and hopefully he ignores all the bells that are coming now. And condolences to Michelle Kaminsky's family on her passing. She was also a school trustee for many years and a city councillor. Her husband Martin was also a city councillor, and may she rest in peace. She faced many challenges in the last several years. Very it was very disheartening what has happened, and facing all the surgeries and stuff. So may she rest in peace. It was nice to have this warm break in the weather, and I continue to encourage everybody to wash their hands, wear a mask, do the social distancing, and keep yourself safe as well as other. And that ends.
Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, February 22nd, regular council meeting. On February 24th, I took part in the property standards meeting. At that meeting, we welcomed Conrad Demray to the Property Standards Task Force. He's already made an impact in the community and has become quite familiar with the bylaws as well as the policies and procedures that accompany the role. I too have some congratulations as well. This is for Fire Chief Abry on his 10-year anniversary as the chief of the Dauphin Fire Department. He put that information on social media last week, and it's great to have such a valuable asset in the community. He takes his role extremely serious, and his leadership is shown throughout the membership at the fire department. I think he provides a good mentorship for a lot of the staff there. Also, too, on that same line, congrats to Richard Snyder on his retirement. I knew Richard from working at the provincial building for many years when I had just started there, so I know him personally. And congrats on his retirement. And I too want to offer condolences to Martin Kaminsky and his family on the passing of his wife Michelle. Although I didn't know Michelle personally, I do know that she gave a lot to the community through her various endeavors and through her roles in the community. So my condolences there. And that ends my report.
Councillor Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For me, on February the 22nd, regular council meeting here in person at City Hall. On the 24th, property standards meeting here in person at City Hall. Like Devin said, we welcomed Conrad Demray to the fold. I won't say much more. Devin did a great job of summing him up, but he's doing a great job so far, and just looking excited to see what he can do moving forward. On March the 1st, I attended the audit and finance meeting in person here at City Hall. Couple other things, again, as Devin mentioned, congratulations to Cam Abry on his 10-year anniversary as Dauphin's fire chief. Just the one flaw in Cam is he's a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. So, but congrats, Cam. I'm a big fan of his. So, Rodney had mentioned, Councillor Juba, tomorrow, excited for the Dauphin and District Chamber of Commerce Awards and annual general meeting. You can still sign up, just contact Stephen, but it's going to be cool. It's not going to be like your regular Zoom meeting. There's a great video on the Chamber of Commerce's Facebook page kind of outlining what it's going to be like tomorrow, and I'm kind of excited for it. It's kind of changing the game a little bit when it comes to online meetings. And finally, condolences as well to Martin Kaminsky and his family on the passing of Michelle, obviously former counselor and school trustee. May she rest in peace. And that does it for my report.
Councillors, condolences to Martin Kaminsky, counselor, on passing of his wife Michelle, and she was a counselor in the late in the 90s. Suffered for many years, as mentioned here. So rest in peace, and all the best to the Kaminsky family. March 1st, the Audit and Finance Committee. That's where we approved the surplus, and March 3rd, the rec board meeting. And that's it for I forgot my cell phone at home, so I can't remember any other meetings that I attended. So that's it for me. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at 6:40, right? Just have a little